Can I just get this onto there?
Yeah, he has to wait for the YouTube video.
Don't worry about YouTube. I'll just go straight to there.
Pēnei te tō tātou nei kai kōrero tuatahi ai e mawis. Tēnā tātou.
Can you guys hear me all right? Okay, if I shout, because I'm not used to using a microphone, just say, sore in my ears. If I'm too quiet, just raise my voice. Just before I start, I'd just like to give a mihi to my whānau, to my mums, my dads, my siblings and friends. I'd like to really thank Te Wānanga Aotearoa, Te Whare Wānanga o Awanuiarangi, my past teachers, my past mentors, the Health Research Council, my tupuna and my atua who have guided me in this journey. I'm going to have to go like this to go to the next slide. Can we go to the next slide? This was my pepeha last year. This kōrero today is about how I replace the question marks in my life and the journey to find the answer to the question, ko waio. This kōrero is about the challenges, the reason why the question marks existed, the ways I rewrote my story, and who and what helped me along the way. Whakapapa determines our purpose, reflects our ways of being and doing. It's our identity, our namesake, our connection to place, to time, to pūrākau. It is our taonga tuku iho, and pepeha is a way we can share our whakapapa with each other. For some of us, giving a pepeha is friggin' scary. Your palms sweat, lump forms in the throat, panic sets in, bit like me about 2 seconds ago. For some of us, Māori, giving a pepeha highlights the gaps in our whakapapa knowledge. We may feel ashamed we do not know the names of our waka, the names of our hapu, the names of our iwi, the names of our tupuna, or our Māori whānau. Some say Māori who don't know their whakapapa are rootless, lost, disconnected. Others say you're not a real Māori. Others blame you for not knowing your whakapapa. The judgments, whether real or perceived, are debilitating. Sometimes avoiding kaupapa Māori situations is far easier than admitting one does not know one's whakapapa. Instead of making judgments, whānau, we need to understand the contexts that have led to whakapapa knowledge loss. Colonisation and assimilative legislation have impacted Māori whakapapa knowledge for decades. We know the ugly tentacles of colonisation has impacted other Indigenous whānau around the globe. Not knowing one's whakapapa can be traumatic, but instead of having a meltdown, one can rewrite the story. For example, Rawiri Waitangi said, "You may not know your maunga, but your maunga knows you. You may not know your awa, but your whakapapa knows you. You may not know your reo, but your reo knows you." Hohepi Tamihana wrote the following lines of a waiata, he kākanoa hau I ruia mai I rangiatia. And I can never be lost. I am a seed born of greatness, descended from a line of chiefs. He kākanoa ahau. I'd like to add to this conversation today. Huna means conceal, go unnoticed, seldom seen. The manamataka derives from our ancestors and tells us when the best time to plant, harvest, fish, etc. On the manamataka, depending on the iwi you're from, huna is either the 10th, 11th or 26th night of the lunar month. During the phase of huna, part of the moon is hidden from view. Productivity and energy levels are low. Can we go back one? Okay. Living with a whakapapa huna is the idea that you have whakapapa and it is always there, but full knowledge of your whakapapa is just hiding out of sight. When you do not know any of your Māori whakapapa, sometimes you may feel incomplete, and like the partially visible moon, you must trust that you are in fact whole. One day, this phase may pass and more of your whakapapa may be revealed. When you're living with a whakapapa huna, one can be apathetic to things Māori. One may feel lost or incomplete, as I've mentioned. But if we draw on the wisdoms of our tupuna, we can move our deficit mindset. During the moon phase of huna, we must reflect, be observant and patient, being in wānanga with ourselves and each other, and being conscious of when wairua is guiding conversations and interactions. It's being aware, whānau, of those spine-tingling moments that provide clues to whakapapa. When you're living with a whakapapa huna, one can feel isolated. During the moon phase of huna, our tupuna say, connect with others. When you do not have a marae, our wānanga are places where you can learn about our reo, our toi, our pūrākau, our waiata, our whakapapa. Through these activities, we connect with other Māori whom you may later discover are your whānau. Whanaungatanga leads to whakapapa insight. During the moon phase of huna, our tupuna say, look after your well-being. The whakapapa journey can be really exhausting. Our awa, our maunga, our ngahere, our moana are our places to replenish. As we walk or bathe in these places, we follow in the footsteps of our tupuna. For many moons, I have lived with the whakapapa huna. This is me as a baby. I was born in 1972 to a Pākehā mother and a Māori father, but I was raised by British adoptive parents, and growing up my biological records were sealed. As an adult, I learned the identity of my Pākehā birth mother. However, my Māori birth father was not named on my certificates or on my records. Consequently, I didn't know the name of my marae, hapu, iwi or waka. In my studies, I've talked to other Māori adoptees like myself who grew up not knowing their Māori whakapapa. Between 1955 and 85, there were more than 80,000 adoptions in Aotearoa. Some of those were tamariki Māori. Within this, some of us Māori adoptees have found our Māori whānau and others have not. In the past, when giving a pepeha, I used to claim the iwi in the region I was from, but it seemed like a bit of a lie to me. I know of another Māori adoptee who was told to pretend she was Pākehā. One day, I decided to change things, and began sharing that I was adopted. I didn't say whāngai, I said adopted. I saw it as a way of educating others about the close adoption of Māori in Aotearoa. Interestingly, afterwards, I'd often have Māori adoptees or whānau of Māori adoptees approach me and share their journey. I also then began saying I descended from Rangi and Papa, and then I realised I could go back further. I am a seed of Rangiatia. My whakapapa journey is one of wānanga, wairuatanga, whanaungatanga, and whenua working in unison. We know wānanga means to discuss or deliberate or contemplate. A decade ago, I was discussing my lack of Māori whakapapa knowledge at a conference similar to this. An audience member heard my kōrero, and she worked for adoption services and was able to access my birth records I couldn't access. And she sent me a one-page letter. In the letter, it identified my Māori dad's interests and occupation. It also described the tragic story of a house fire which killed his mother and a war that killed his father. However, my dad's name was not on the letter. So finding my Māori whakapapa was still challenging. Nevertheless, I kept this piece of paper. A decade ago, I joined Te Wānanga Aotearoa as an employee. The wānanga helped me become more comfortable in te ao Māori environments. I became a perpetual student, studying rāranga, waka ama, reo. And te awanui also increased my mātauranga Māori understanding. These Māori tertiary institutions became my marae. As I began to wānanga with my wānanga friends, I noticed a little shift within. I started to unlearn what I'd been taught and be more present to wairuatanga and the messages from my tūpuna. I became more open to other types of knowledges, and I also began to dream. 4 years ago, I dreamt of wahine sleeping beneath the awa. They were waiting for their mokopuna to come home. This was the title of my thesis, Bringing Our Mokopuna Home. These wahine were guiding me. The dream was poignant as I'd grown up. Can we go back one slide? Where the Waikato and Waipa awa meet. So our house was on the point there, and Ngarawahia. This point is where I went to refresh myself when my doctoral studies and my whakapapa journey became tough. 2 years ago, my birth mother finally gave me my birth father's name, but no other information. I remember saying to a wānanga colleague, Akim, if I say my dad's name enough, someone in the wānanga's bound to know him. Half an hour later, I kid you not. And we are talking Tiriti here, who knows everybody. He knew my father. He had used to get his hair cut from my father many years ago. There's another story to that too, but I won't reveal that one. I also remembered this story from that piece of paper I'd received about my grandmother and the house fire. So I searched the internet and papers past and found the story. And then I found a social media post about the incident, which gave me more clues to names. I reluctantly did a DNA test. I can talk to that kaupapa on another day. And certain whānau names began matching with what I'd discovered. My grandmother was calling me, and her story was revealing itself. It was through whanaungatanga with my wānanga friends I was able to make more whakapapa connections. I was then directed to the gravesite of my great-great-grandmother, who, by the way, whānau, was in the same graveyard as my boss's husband's family. Another colleague pointed me in the direction of where my grandmother might lie. Interestingly, the area where I'm from, I was already familiar with, as earlier in the year I'd done some research on this, on the battle that had taken place there. Back then I didn't know I was from there. My whenua was calling me. At first I dismissed all these experiences as coincidences, But the more they occurred, the more I realised, oh heck, it's Wairua guiding me and whakapapa calling, and I began to trust the process. Next slide, please. On Waitangi Day this year, I visited the whenua where my grandmother lay. So this is St Michael's Church in Ohio. I left a note on my grandmother's grave, and a few days later an auntie and a cousin contacted me and confirmed my dad's identity and possible town he lived in. However, they didn't have a blimmin' phone number, did they? But I also learnt that he had a business. So I searched a New Zealand company's register, found the PO box number, but still no damn phone number. I then searched the yellow pages for possible businesses and matched the PO box number to the company register's PO box number. On the yellow page was a phone number, and I tried not to cry. It was a Friday afternoon at work. In the room was my colleague who had known my father years ago and another colleague who I had whakapapa connections with, and with their encouragement, I rang my dad. Next slide, please. This year, after a 5-decade wait, I kid you not, I met my father. He had lived in the same suburb that I had lived for many years and didn't know that I existed. Whakapapa was near me all along. And it was my grandmother's tragic story that brought me to my father. I've yet to learn my grandfather's whakapapas. He died in the Māori battalion before my dad was born. I know, whānau, that the journey to whakapapa revelation is ongoing, as there's many more whakapapa layers yet to be revealed. I know there are many other Māori out there who are behind and ahead of me in their whakapapa journey. I know the pain, I know the challenges, I know the frustrations and the decolonising that needs to occur. I know, whānau, too, one must never ever give up. If you are living with the whakapapa huna, kia toa, kia kaha, kia maia. Do not run from te ao Māori, but run towards. Do not run from giving a pepeha, but run towards. Seek opportunities to plant your feet on your whenua, immerse yourself in wānanga, connect through whanaungatanga, and be guided by wairuatanga. Listen with the whole of yourself, whānau, to the karanga of your tupuna. Trust whānau, that whakapapa reveals itself in mysterious ways. Remember, whānau, you are a seed of rangiatia whose seed is sprouting. Ko maunga tuaroto te maunga, ko omapere te awa, ko Ngāti Hene tōku iwi, ko Ngāti Rangi tōku hapu, ko Ngāwha te marae, ko Emma West tōku ingoa. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Awesome, heartfelt kōrero, as I said, very personal, so lovely to Nunawira atu ki atu e koe. Koe no, we just got time for one question perhaps for this one, because we've got 3 other speakers. And yeah. Okay, well, who does the one?
Te whātai tāku, tēnā hui ima, my pātai is kaiako, how can we support our tauira who experience this type of identity trauma?
I know for the toi I've spoken to it for myself, sometimes in our homes, we are required to give our whakapapa during the mihi. This can be quite intimidating for some of our whānau, so we perhaps, I'm not saying don't do it, we need to do it, but what I'm saying is we also need to have the way we are doing it sometimes. To stand up in a circle in a room and everyone give their pepeha is actually quite frightening, especially as Māori who doesn't know their whakapapa. So if we can think a little bit more creatively about how we are sharing our pepeha in those classroom spaces, I think there's other ways of connecting to whakapapa too, rather than just the verbal. I was a toi tauira, I worked with toi tauira and kaiako, and toi is a beautiful not a scary space sometimes to actually start connecting to whakapapa, because you're doing the mahi, you're doing the visuals, so that's my message. Kia ora.
Mai te paki e te whānau.